Hi everyone, nice to see you here once again. Thank you for joining me on this appointment. I don't know what number we got to. I think it's 9th appointment of Camilla Newspapers and Caffè. Thanks for being here, and as usual we're going to discuss world news and especially focus on the language of news. So today we're not going to focus on a hot topic of the week or discuss current affairs. I've decided to focus on an opinion article, and hopefully it's going to be as fascinating for you as it was for me to find out more about what's going on behind the scenes, things that we don't really hear about or talk about much. So as I told you, this is not going to be related to current affairs, but still it's quite interesting, pretty cool article I found. So as I did last week, I'll try to focus a bit more on grammar and the structures in the article, because it's nice to see what's going on the text that we're reading and why there have some choices have been made by the journalists. So we go a bit deeper into that, and we are going to read shorter bits, but focus on them a bit longer. So the article that I've chosen today is taken from the New York Times. Yeah, it's taken from the New York Times. It's part of the opinion column, and it's based on scientific archaeology-related discovery that really defies our perception of the human social evolution. So we're going to find out more about our own species, and so let's dive into it right away. Okay, I'll start reading, and as usual, from time to time, I'll stop and comment it for you. So here we go. We are going to start with the title. What new science techniques tell us about ancient women warriors? Recent studies show that man was not always the hunter. So already at the beginning in this heading, we've got, we go straight to the point. We're going to focus on the core of the article, that is this perception of the role of men and women in the past, okay, in prehistory, in history. So though it's remarkable that the United States finally is about to have a female vice president, let's stop calling it an unprecedented achievement. All right, so let's have a look at a few interesting words in this sentence. The first one's though. Though is a subordinating conjunction. So it's a word that introduces a subordinate clause, which means it's a clause, a piece of sentence that cannot stand by itself. And it's always related to something else. That is, let's stop calling it an unprecedented event. An unprecedented achievement. So this though introduces an opposing argument. Okay, so it's basically, we can say, despite the fact that it's remarkable that the United States is about to have a female president, let's stop calling it an unprecedented achievement. So when we use though, we use it when this subordinate clause comes before the main clause. And when we turn these two sentences around, we usually use although when it's in the middle. So though it's remarkable, so positively surprising, that the United States finally is about to have a female vice president, so this is a thing that is going to happen very shortly, let's stop calling it an unprecedented achievement. So it's not something that's never happened before, it has happened before. All right, so when we say that the US is about to have a female vice president, of course, here the journalist is trying to engage the reader right away by giving them an idea of the connection between this article, this scientific topic, and current affairs. So she's clearly related to Kamala Harris. Let's stop calling it an unprecedented achievement. So when we use let's, as you know, it's a plural imperative. So we use it to invite someone to do something. And here we have stop calling, Stop is one of those verbs. As we've seen also, we saw it last week in the article. There was a finish and start. Also, stop is mostly followed by ing form. As some recent archaeological studies suggest, women have been leaders, warriors, and hunters for thousands of years. All right, so we have a present perfect here. Women have been leaders, warriors, and hunters for thousands of years. We're talking about a state in progress, so something that's started in the past and kept on being true till now. So this is why we have the present perfect linked to 4,000 of years for a period of time. This is the lifespan that the time span in which this action has kept on being true. This new scholarship, so academic subject, is challenging the long-held beliefs about so-called natural gender roles in ancient history. So long-held is a modifier. It means it refers to what comes after that, and it's beliefs. So in English, we have this collocation, we say to hold beliefs. So it means beliefs, things that we've believed to be true for a long time. So this is inviting us to reconsider how we think about women today, women's work today. In November, a group of anthropologists and other researchers published a paper in the academic journal Science Advances about the remains of a 9,000-year-old big game hunter buried in the Andes. All right, so let's have a look at this series of modifiers, series of words that comes before the word hunter that help us describe it. It's a 9,000-year-old big game hunter. So 9,000-year-old is a compound, so it's a word created by linking more words together by the hyphen. And big game hunter, what's a big game? So big game is a large group of large animals that people hunt, okay? So a game is a group of animals that is hunted. Like other hunters of the period, this person was buried with a specialized toolkit associated with stalking large game. So here we have a passive. This person was buried. It means it's not important who buried her. The focus is on the object, on the person that was buried with a specialized toolkit, so a set of tools associated with stalking large game. Large game, we've talked about it already, this group of big animals. Stalking, instead, is a word that has taken up basically a new meaning in the last few years. However, here stalking is not related to following people, but to move quietly in order to chase a prey and catch it. There was nothing particularly unusual about the body, though the leg bones seemed a little slim for an adult male hunter. So here we have though, once again, that basically means but. Okay, so nothing strange about this body, except for the fact that the leg bones seems a little slim. Okay, the size is smaller and thinner for an adult male hunter. But what scientists analyzed, when scientists analyzed the tooth enamel using a method borrowed from forensics, that reveals whether a person carries the male or female version of a protein, the hunter turned out to be female. All right, so enamel is this white layer outside of our teeth. This element, this protein, okay, and a protein in this layer of our teeth was analyzed with a method borrowed, so taken from forensics, that is this scientific method that is used to solve crimes, that reveals whether, so if a person carries the male or female version of the protein. So the hunter turns out to be a woman. With that information in hand, so when we say in hand, we describe what we're dealing with. So with that information in hand, the researchers re-examined evidence from 107 other graves in the Americas from roughly the same period. Roughly is a very nice adverb that means more or less. They were startled, shocked, surprised to discover that out of 26 graves with hunter tools, 10 belonged to women. So this was not expected. This is why they were startled. That's when we use the word startled. Out of 26 graves, 10 belonged to women. So out of is an expression that we use when we talk about proportions. So the total was 26 graves, and 10 out of these were women, the women graves, basically. Bonnie P. Tablo, an archaeologist at the University of Oklahoma, told Science magazine that the findings indicate that women have always been able to hunt and have in fact hunted. Okay, so here we have once more the present perfect action that's happened in an unspecified moment in the past, and have always been able to hunt. Okay, so here we have this semi-modal to be able that is related to ability, of course, just like the modal can. The new data calls into question, so doubts, an influential dogma in the field of archaeology. Nicknamed Man the Hunter, this is the notion, so the idea, the understanding, that men and women in ancient societies have strictly defined roles. So this is the general idea, what people know, okay, in general, is that the roles were strictly defined. Men hunted and women gathered. Now, this theory may be crumbling. Okay, so all of these technologies are now helping us understand what really happened, and this theory of man the hunter may be crumbling. May is a modal verb that we use to describe possibility, and we use it when we are not really sure. Okay, so there is nothing certain about this, but this theory may be crumbling. Crumble is a verb that we use when we talk about a theory, like in this case, we talk about a theory that gets weaker. But crumbs are also literally what's left of food, you know, when you break up bread and crumbs are left. So it's got both a literal and a metaphorical meaning. While the Andean finding was noteworthy, so that deserved attention, this was not the first female hunter or warrior to be found. Once again, we've got the passive. What's important is the object. So this was not the first female hunter or warrior to be found. By re-examining old archaeological evidence using fresh, new, contemporary scientific techniques. Nor was this sort of discovery confined to one group or one part of the world. So we have nor here. This is a coordinating conjunction that is always associated to another negative expression. In this case, we have a negative verb in the previous sentence that is, this was not the first female hunter or warrior to be found, nor was this the only discovery, and so on. So we always use it when there is another negative. So negative, nor. In addition to that, note the word order that changes. Okay, it does not follow the subject, verb, object pattern. It goes nor, verb, and so on. Okay, so verb goes before. So we have nor, verb, subject, and so on, just like in questions. All right, I'll skip towards the end of the article. There's lots of other interesting details, and I strongly suggest you go check it out. It's very well written also. Let's go towards the end of it. So armchair history buffs love to obsess about mythical societies dominated by female warriors. So Who are armchair history buffs? When we talk about armchair history, armchair historians, we talk about people that never really did research in the field. They just go straight to historical debate. And buff is a word that we use in compound, so related to something else, like in this case, armchair history buffs. That is used when someone is very much interested into a specific subject. So here we're talking about people that never really did research, but are only interested in the topic. So armchair history buffs love to obsess about mythical societies dominated by female warriors, like Amazons or the Valkyries. Let's be clear, these findings don't reveal an ancient matriarchy. Okay, so here, once again, like the journalist did at the very beginning of the article, towards the end, she is inviting us with this let's, with this plural imperative. She's inviting us to do something, okay? So at the beginning, she was like, let's stop calling it unprecedented achievement. And here is, let's be clear. She's talking directly to us to make us feel involved. Let's be clear, these findings don't reveal an ancient matriarchy. Findings, so this is a noun that basically is constructed with the use of a verb plus the ing. When we want to use a verb as a noun, we add the ing and there goes our noun. So the verb is the subject of the sentence. These findings don't reveal an ancient matriarchy, but neither do they reaffirm the idea of societies in which men dominate completely. So, once again, we have a coordinating conjunction, neither or neither, you can pronounce it either way, that is often associated to nor, okay? Just like nor is the same type of thing, is always related to another negative expression. In this case, the negative verb in the previous sentence. These findings don't reveal an ancient matriarchy, but neither do they reaffirm. Here, once again, just like in the case of nor, we have an inversion of the word order. So we have neither do they, neither verb subject instead of subject verb. What they indicate is a lot more mundane and relatable. Some women were warriors and leaders, many weren't. So, what they indicate is a lot more mundane, ordinary, and relatable, comprehensible, easy to understand. Here we have this what, this sentence that starts with what, and it's not a question, of course, and we call it WH words cleft sentence. It means it's a grammar technique that we can use to give emphasis. By moving to the beginning of the sentence, to the first place, what's most important for us to emphasize, the understanding, the perception of the listener changes because we know exactly what's most important to the writer or the speaker. So we put what they indicate at the beginning because this is what the journalist wants us to focus on. What they indicate is a lot more mundane and relatable. Some women were warriors and leaders, many weren't. There was inequality, but it wasn't absolute. And there were lots of shifts over time, so lots of changes. When it comes to female power, so when it comes to female power and gender roles, the past was as ambiguous as the present. So here we have the preposition as that we often use in comparisons, okay? Here we are talking about the degree of something, and it's, as in this specific case, is the level of ambiguity. So we don't know what we don't know about, okay? So as, it means in the same way. So the past was as ambiguous as the present. We don't know about the past and we don't know about the present when it comes to female power and gender roles. All right, so my reading and my comment is over. I chose this article because I found it fascinating how many things there are that we still don't know about our own species and how many things there are in the world out there that we can still find out about using new technologies and scientific techniques. So I hope you learned something, and that it was nice to see a different type of article, more based on opinion and science related, especially in the use of vocabulary. So as always, if you have any comments or suggestions, please get in touch with us. I will be here next week to keep you company once again while you have your coffee on Wednesday morning at 9:15. And that's it for today. See you then. Bye-bye.